Yes, and great pleasure to have you with us too, Danny. You're really in hot form, as we saw earlier in the programs.
Thank you, Ken. It's nice to be here, and we're watching some fantastic bowling here by the men.
Well, Gary Jeffrey changing to a harder case bowling ball to slide it down these lanes, across lane. Oh my.
Steve, I imagine as defending champion, Ian Bradford's under a bit of pressure.
Yes, he would be, and particularly in this event, he needs 2 more wins this year to win a special bonus prize offered in the AMF Super Circuit of tournaments. He's won 4 and he needs to win 6, and he's under pressure to win 2 out of the last 5, and this is one of them. So apart from being defending champion in the South Pacific Classic, he's also trying to get another point towards that Super Circuit prize.
Gary Jeffrey leaving himself the spare again.
I think, Ken, I've watched Gary a little bit this morning, and he seems a bit lost. His ball is breaking too soon, going high out of the pocket.
Well, that was a good spare by Ian Bradford. Yes, Gary Jeffrey in a little bit of bother today. He was the top qualifier in the tournament, but when the matches started, he fell out of timing. He averaged 230, which was a new tournament record, but we're certainly not seeing that sort of form from him in the matches so far. Well, Ian Bradford, after 12 games, the leader by just 13 pins from Rob Sickman, another 14 pins to Mark Ramsey, and then a little bit of a gap down to Tom Curry, a former winner of the tournament. Mike Kennedy from Geelong just a little bit behind Tom, and Mark Malloy from Melbourne. The Victorians doing very well, and none of them in the history of the game better than Ian Bradford on your screen now.
That was a terrific shot there by Ian. You'll see the ball go wide, and he brings it all the way back from the 2 board. It just does tap the 10. Great shot, great camera work here.
Yes, and the 2 board, there's 42 boards in the lane there, and he certainly does send it out wide. Gary's a little bit more direct in the pocket from the left-hand side of the lane.
That was a better shot there by Gary. He stayed firmer with the shot, thus sending the ball a little bit further down before breaking, and was a bit disappointed with the 7-pin. Much better shot, though.
Yes, the pin action here at Bankstown this week's been marvellous, and they have a new machine called a stripper machine, and it cleans the back end of the lane off so that they're squeaky clean, and it's really making the pins do some marvellous things down there, and that's, of course, one of the reasons we've broken all sorts of records this week. Well, he covered it that time, and the score after 2 frames, 28-40. Ian Bradford has a 12-pin lead and working on a strike. Bradford has quite a gadget on his hand there, and helps him keep the ball in play where he wants it, and also helps support his wrist, which is a little bit suspect, and that was a bad break for Ian Bradford.
During the replay here, you'll see the ball come very light, and the 5-pin just almost touches the 7, but not quite. That lane seems to be a little bit tighter for Ian. Let's see if Gary can take advantage.
He certainly has, and you don't take advantage much better than that, Ken. Right in the pocket.
No, he certainly hit it big and hit it hard, and that's been a big help to Gary at this stage, I would imagine.
Well, it just about evens the match up, because Ian's opened a frame now, and Gary, of course, opened the first frame. And they're all square in the 4th frame. Gary can take the lead if he can put a head on that strike. Ian Bradford battling to retain his lead here in the tournament and to remain in the top-seeded position. And Dana, that's a good place to be.
It's a terrific place to be. It's definitely the position that everybody's trying for. There's a lot of pressure out there. You can see it in their faces. Let's see if Gary can put another one together. Good shot.
That was a good shot. That ball was so light it was almost on the other lane, but carried nonetheless. Have a look at this one. Great pin action. 4 or 5 pins on the pin deck doing the damage there, and the pressure back now on the tournament leader, Ian Bradford. Oh, yes. Well, gee, that could have been 3 strikes in a row for Ian Bradford. A real tough break, and I wonder if that'll tell at the end of the game, that couple of pins he just left.
Great camera at work here. Watch the ball. Perfect in the pocket, and the 10 pin just does get tapped out. That's from Ian staying under the ball and coming up through it firmly.
Gary Jeffrey, Turkey to take the lead. Yes, right in the hole for 3 in a row. And we have a new leader in this match, Gary Jeffrey. And isn't it amazing how bowlers get pumped up against the champions?
Oh, absolutely, especially if you're the tournament leader. It's a great shot here by Gary. He's really firm with it. He's staying right on the line now.
Well, that's what made Ian Bradford the 2-time and probable 3-time Australian Bowler of the Year. Shots like that under pressure. And he's just up at the back of the seat now thinking positive shots.
Now, Steve, both these bowlers are lined up on this pair. It's taken them a few frames, and it's just a matter of who gets the carry.
Oh, my. Well, that could have been anything. Many of the lead bowlers watching in the clubs around Australia can recall shots like that where they only get 5 or 6 pins out, but because of Gary bowling such a big hooking ball, and that's the value of it, of course, he's turned a 6 or 7 count into a 9 count, giving himself an easy spare. Ian Bradford now can take the lead back with another strike. Yes, he's got it. Oh boy, and he's blowing the cobwebs away there with that one. Very happy to get a strike.
Steve, I guess that's the sort of stuff that champions are made of, isn't it? To be able to pull them out when you need them.
Yes, and Ian's no Johnny come lately. He's been in the game a long time. He certainly paid his dues as a junior bowler, and it's really paid off for him, all the hard work and perseverance he's had over the years. But I mentioned earlier, he's got a bit of a suspect wrist. He misses an odd tournament here and there because his wrist is just too sore. And I tell you what, his legs must get pretty sore too, Dana. He takes quite a knee bend here when he starts off.
Yes, he does. You watched him breathe there, breathe out, put together some concentration, and then execution of a good shot.
And as you said, beautiful camera work there. We could see Bradford getting into position before he went off, and then pow, another strike. 4 strikes in a row, the new leader in this game. Gary Jeffries must be having all sorts of weird sensations in this match, because this is the pair of lanes that he lost to Ian Bradford last year in the grand final, and lost comprehensively, I might add. I think Ian Bradford had a 246 and poor old Gary hit a 173. Gary's an improved bowler since then, but unfortunately for him, so is Ian Bradford. Only a pin the difference in the 6th frame, 128 to 127, but of course Jeffrey had a spare in the 7th frame. Ian Bradford now working top of the 9th for a 5-bagger. Yes, what a good carry. Well, you pointed that out some time ago, Dana, that if the bowler could carry, that they would probably win the match, and we saw the 6-pin there again here, just kick the 10 out.
Gary needs this one to stay in the match.
Well, that pin was coming back towards the 7-pin to perhaps do some damage, but he's bringing it back from such a long way out. I think he's moved in on the approach, and the ball's now traveling at a different angle down there. And that pin was rolling around, but never really looked like making it back, did it? So Gary's shooting a game in the small 200s, but Ian Bradford bowling at a 220 pace at the moment. Could go all the way for, what, 248, 258, so the tournament leader looks like he could well retain that spot.
Gary Jeffrey's got an unusual way of picking up the 7-pin. He rides it, you see it riding right down the side. Just does get it.
Yes, it always looks dangerous, and he always looks apprehensive about it, but he continues to stand in the same place. I guess anything's good if you're used to it. Well, Ian Bradford now in the 10th frame. He can bowl a big game here and just consolidate his tournament lead. He's working on a 6-bagger. What a champion, Ken.
Certainly is. This has been a sensational performance, really. A little shaky perhaps in the early frames, but then right on the job and has piled up those strikes beautifully to finish very strongly.
Yes, that ball jumping on Gary. He seemed to ease up a little bit that time. Maybe knows that he's beaten, and it's hard to keep on pushing yourself when you're getting crushed by the Australian champion, I guess.
Gary's pushed himself all week with a 230 plus average for the tournament, and sometimes it's hard to keep that type of momentum going.
Well, Ian Bradford now looking for 7 strikes. Yes, oh, what a ripper that was. 7-bagger for Ian Bradford. And one more strike for 248. Well, he certainly retained the lead with that. So Gary Jeffrey bowling a very respectable game of 2-0 something, 205 maybe if he can get a strike, but no match for Ian Bradford, who's going to go on and win this game quite comprehensively. Ian's in good shape for a bowler, Danner. He's one of the fitter breed of bowlers.
I believe Ian does some type of physical training as well as mental training. Ian's very, very good under the whip, and you can see by his eyes and see by his breathing techniques that he's very good at concentrating.
Oh, what a good game that's been. 8 strikes in a row, Ken. 248. What a game.
Absolutely sensational. That's probably been the best steady performance that we've seen so far on the tour.
Well, Gary Jeffrey finishing his bonus ball there, and a nice handshake on the match. What else can you do when you get hit with 8 strikes? 248 to 202.
A solid, sustained performance from Ian Bradford has seen him take the match against Gary Jeffrey by 46 points. He started piling up the strikes from the 5th frame on and took them right out to the finish of the game. So 46 points in the match, 248 to Ian Bradford.